Okay, I'm going to show you how to remove hotspots from images. And this is where you have an area on the image that just looks a little bit too hot, like like it's a little bit overexposed, or the flash was so bright, things are a little washed out. Okay, now this is not really great for the entire image. If the entire image is overexposed, then I would recommend coming up here to image adjustments and using shadow highlight to adjust that, or see the underexposed video on the CD. But for just areas like on the face, on the neck, little areas that look like they're a little too hot, you just want to go ahead and just tone them down a little bit. I would come right over to the toolbar and click right here and select the burn tool. Okay, and when you do this, make sure that the exposure value is a little bit low. You don't want a very high exposure value. So I'm just going to enter in here about, let's say just about like 12. And for the range, depending on how bright or whatever, usually for most hotspots, the mid-tones range works just fine. And just bring the brush, the burn to brush over to the image and just start to paint on areas you think that are just a little too hot. And you can just go ahead and tone them down a little bit, just like that. You see that? And I could come over here to the forehead here on her face and just draw on her face a little bit. And I can come down here over on the arm. Looks like it was a little hot. And just sort of tone down the overall image. And we're just coming here with the brush tool, with the mouse, just getting little specific areas that we want to change. We don't want to necessarily change the whole entire image, just a few little spots here. And you can see this is what it was before, okay? And now this is after, just toning it down a little bit, okay? And we can do that with the burn tool in Photoshop. Now let me go ahead and load up another image. Here's a black and white image, and it looks like it's just a little too hot up here by the forehead, over on the side of the face here. And if you want to go ahead and actually just tone that, or just get back some of the texture or some of the actual face back in the photo. For black and white photos, I would probably recommend using the sponge tool. I wouldn't use the burn tool. You could and try it, but I would come over here to the toolbar and use the sponge tool for areas like this. Okay, in the sponge tool, we have two settings. We have desaturate, and then we have saturate. Okay, so, well, in this case, if I want to make an area darker, I would desaturate when it comes to a black and white image. In grayscale mode for a black and white image, basically the sponge tool increases or decreases the contrast by just moving the gray levels away from or toward the middle gray area. So that's really all it does. And I'm going to select desaturate and just come over here and just click the mouse a little bit on areas of this hot area, and you can see it start to get a little darker. Okay, looks like we're just adding a little bit of tone back into that, and you can see this is what it was before, and now this is after using the sponge tool. Okay, and if you mess up, you can just go ahead and hold down Option Z Command, and that's Alt Control Z on the PC, and you can just, you know, a couple spots in there if you didn't like, or use the history palette, which I like to use the history palette because I can go back quickly like this without having to use the key commands on the keyboard. Okay, the history palette can be found up here at Window and History right here. Okay, so that is a way we can remove some of the hotter areas, little overexposed areas on the images that we find that might sort of like conflict with the photo, might not look very good. You can just go in there with the sponge tool. I would use the sponge tool with black and white images. And when it comes to color images, I would try using the burn tool instead. Okay, there you go. All right, so that's how we can do it. We'll see you later.